So welcome everyone. This is going to be a very fun session today, showing you how to customize your database to add a few fields or data, or places to store data in order to make your system more attached to your current business operation. So we'll go through this very small content today. We'll just talk briefly about the object of this session, give some definitions, do a demonstration, and talk after that how is it safe and when you can do this kind of transaction. All right, so let's begin. It's very basic. The object of this session is basically to show you how easy it is with SAP Business One to personalize your database with different elements to record data that couldn't be stored otherwise with regular SAP Business One fields. So this is what we're going to do. We are going to add a new form, which contains a table and few fields, and you'll see where we can go at the end with that. All right. So first, some definitions. What is a UDF? It's basically an acronym for a user-defined field, meaning it's a field that was added by a customer. It is not a standard field by SAP Business One, but something added by the customer or the consultant acting for the customer. These fields are used to store additional information. Okay, and this field can be attached to a table or a series of tables. We'll show you marketing documents, which are your commercial documents like sales order, invoice, etc. When you want to add a field to one of those tables, you add them to the marketing documents, and all those tables will get the same field at once. Those fields can be of many types and lengths. In some case, because it's not all the field that you require to tell the length, but you can have fields that will store like alphanumeric values. You can force a field to receive only numerical values. Could be a date, could be a link, could be a full text, a photo, etc. There's many types. We don't cover it all today, but we'll show you that how flexible it is. When you create a user-defined field, especially when it is for a marketing document, a sales order, for example, you have to decide if that user-defined field is going to be at the header level, meaning at the same level of the business partner name or the delivery date, etc., or at the row, meaning inside the grid of the document itself. So once it is inserted in the grid, it will be an additional column available inside that grid. Those user-defined fields, what we can do with them, we can set preset values. So when every time you will use that, it will just be with a default value. This default value can be mandatory if you want, or you can just make a mandatory field, empty mandatory field, meaning that before you can add or update your document, SAP will ask you to fill the value on that field. The field itself can be linked to other table of objects. It is very useful to do combo lists and stuff like that. When located at the header level of a document, we can group them under categories. So we see in some case some companies would have a lot of user-defined fields, and it's going to be hard just to look at them at once. So they just categorize them and just show. So they could have a set related to transportation, another set related to some characteristic of the product on the sales order itself. And the UDF can also be moved with the SAP Business One UI configurator. The latest version of SAP Business One allows to mostly modify any kind of form on the screen. So a user-defined field, I'll show you where they show usually when you create them, but you could also move them into the middle of your regular form. Okay, that's for the UDF. The UDT is a user-defined table. So user-defined table are usually the base table for combo box, but I would say dynamic combo box. It means that this combo box, you can, while you are working with it, you can add additional value. The user can actually add new values to that table that will be available for other users afterward. User-defined objects are a group of all the others that we saw before. So the user-defined object, it's a special element, and it will be built from one or multiple user-defined table. This object, will be, once it is imported and prepared, will pretty much look like an SAP Business One form. So we can define stuff that are very, very nice with that. The user-defined object gives you the ability to link two tables together in a father-like child pattern. This is useful sometimes, and this is exactly the kind of example we are going to do today. So I said it earlier, the UDO can be edited to look like a SAP Business One form, and it can be added to your menu, so you can access actually your new form from your main menu as other forms from a standard form from SAP Business One. And finally, we'll show that, because with my example, we are going to add this user-defined table in the BOM, and you will be able to access the data from the BOM itself directly with a drill down arrow. All right. The last thing, it was not part of the initial definition of this coffee break, but I just decided to add it. It's the user-defined value. This is the very last customization tool that we have, or that is available for you. This one is used, to insert or to insert automatically some values inside a field, or to open a list, to get some specific data that would like to populate the field. Usually, and if you have some defined already on your company, you will see that that a field is equipped with a user-defined value when there is this magnifier showing. So we'll do at the end, we'll do one if we have some time. Okay, so that's it for the definitions. We'll go for the demonstration itself. So what we are going to do today is, for those who are familiar with the production modules, before we actually go in production, we have to build a bill of material that will tell what is the product being produced, and at the child level, what are the components being used. Now, it arrives over time, that over a long period, that this bill of material may be modified or changed, and we are in a situation where the company would like to record the change, record when it was done, the reason, and see the modification. So what we have added here is a user-defined field that will just tell what are the revision, and there will be a drill down arrow to look at them in the details. When we will click on the drill down arrow, this is what we're going to see. We are going to see a form which will be called the BOM revisions. We'll see the item code, the item name, and the list of revision with the relevant fields attached to them. So this is very basic, and it will cover most of the type of UD something that I have just defined with you. Okay, so when you want to prepare something like that, the first thing you would like to do is actually make a plan to decide what you are going to use in your setup. So on my side, I did one. So I have defined that I would need the following. So I will need on the two user-defined table that will be set as master data objects. Now, to a table to be used as an object, you have to define that as an object. We'll see that. And I will create a third table that will be as a no object, because it's just going to be a list to put the appropriators initials. Now, inside of, in one of those tables, the child one, which will be the grid, I will add some columns to it. The revision number, which will be a numeric field. I will add the description, which will be a alphanumeric field. I will put the date. I will put a field to enter the initials or the name of the person who created the revisions, and a combo box just to tell if it was approved or not. All right. So all of this, when it's going to be done, I will be able to create my user-defined object that will hold everything up there, and then I will be able to use then in this UDO will be used in a user-defined field that will be created afterward, linked to this table. So I will get the entire portrait. I will have one full object attached to my bill of material. Okay, so let's start with.
Yeah, guys, I just second Robert. Just a minute. I just wanted to specify to everybody because, like we had our session this morning. Robert runs on HANA, SAP Business One for HANA, and for those of you that are on the SQL version, there's just a different look, but it's the same thing, right, Robert? That what you're doing is going to be the same thing.
Everything we'll see here based on HANA is available, and it's exactly the same way to do in SQL.
Exactly. I just wanted the people that are on SQL to know that what they're seeing. Yeah, Robert has a cold and a sinus. Poor Robert. So that's it. I just wanted you to know that what we're going to be looking at, if you don't recognize the screen, it's just because he's on HANA, but it's the same thing. So go ahead, Robert.
Okay, thank you. So here I have my bill of materials. I have already some user-defined field in them, and I know they are user-defined field because when I hover over, I will see at the bottom, that the very last description at the bottom. If you look around here, when you look at the description, you will see U_match mark. This means U_ it is a user-defined something. In this case, it's a user-defined field. So ACP will just add that automatically. So these are user-defined field inside or at the child level in a row, or in a grid. Some other user-defined field, when we create them, will be at the header level, and when we create them, they will be on the right side or on the left side, depending on your preference, or sometimes if someone put them in the bottom, they will just be on the right side. So all I want to tell you is that it is possible with the UI configurator. I will be able, if I want, to take this field and move it into this middle part here. It is possible to do. I won't do the demonstration today, but it is possible with the ACP Business One UI configurator to do such kind of transaction. So we are going to add two fields here at the end that will hold some information we'd like to see there. So we'll start with the tables that was required in my plan. So if you go into tools, customization tools, this is where you will find all the required function to create what you need to customize your database. User-defined values, user-defined tables, user-defined fields, and this one, the object registration wizard, is the tool to make user-defined objects. All right, so we'll start with the tables. So I need a table that will be the BOM header of my form. So I will just call it BOM revisions. And I will say that it is a master data object. What is a master data object? It's an object that will be much more similar like a business partner form or an item master data form, meaning that the main key of the form will be more an alphanumerical value that could be user defined, anything you want, while compared to a document type, which would be more like a sales order or an invoice. A document type will be just a numerical sequence. You start with a number you want, and the next number, next, and next will just increment by one each time. Okay, so this afternoon I need a master data one. I will update that. Every time I add a new field, it will just tell me on the system who's connected to the system. Why? Because the ACP, the Business One, doesn't want to corrupt any operations. And to be able to add a new table, a new field, it will just ask for force everyone to shut down their open windows. So this is a good idea, and we'll repeat that at the end, to do this kind of stuff outside of the working hours. So in my case, I will say just ignore, this is me. Okay. Then I will need the second table, which will be the child table or the above for the details. I could call it above dev row, or okay, revision details. And it's going to be a master data, but the row type is going to meaning that's a child of this one. I will add another table just to show different way of making table. A probator. This one will hold the initials and the name of some approbators that can approve the bill of material. And I will leave it to no object, meaning that I don't want that to be transformed into a user-defined object. It will just be a table somewhere, in the database. I update this. Sorry. All right, so I have my 3 tables. To close that. Then I need my user-defined field themselves. So you have a menu here. It's pretty much like, what I would say, more or less like the main menu, but you would say, if you want to add some fields, user-defined field to master data, you would just expand that. You can add user field to activities form. You could add to items form, item to warehouse form, to project codes. There's a lot of form in ACP Business One that can receive user-defined fields. Marketing documents, titles, and rows, those are all the trade documents, sales order, AP invoice, etc. If you want to add to an invoice, you would go there and add it here. And that will add the same field to all the series of documents. Why all the series? Often because when I create a sales quotation, for example, and I want the data to be carried over into the sales order and carried over in the delivery and carried over into the invoice itself. So ACP Business One just create the same field everywhere, and when you create those documents, the information will just follow automatically. You don't have to worry about it. It will do it. In our case, we will add some field in the user table. This is both tables we just did. We have the approbator. In fact, when I create the approbator, the table, it just came with it always comes with 2 default columns. The first column is called code, and the second column is called name. So to my opinion, to the list I want to do is enough, so I will not add user-defined fields to this one. But I want some fields in my revision details. So I will just highlight that and push the add button to add a field to my grid. So the first field will be my revision number. And I will say that I want that to be only a numerical value, and the length. I don't think I have so many revisions to do, so I will just block the length to keep the database as short as possible. So could go up to 99, for example. No specific validation. I could, if I want, set a default value. Say, so when I want to start, let's put a 0 when I do, first enter in my database. And that. Okay. Next field, I just go again and add the second one, which will be my revision description. Now, in the title itself, you can put any combination of letters and numbers, but avoid special characters. The underscore is okay, but special characters, parentheses, slash won't be allowed. And you should not put any space in your title. So never put space in the title itself. This is the field registered into the system. On the description itself, it's okay. I can do that. So description, I would like to put a long description. So I say, let's say I give it a space for at least 100 characters, no specific, no mandatory field. I'll just add this like that. A third one would be my revision date. And of course, my revision date, whoops, should be a date type field. Then we'll go with the revision by. Sorry. Oop, this is a thing not to do. Revision by. And this one, let's say I leave it to the default value, so I can put up to 10 characters on this one. But I would like this one, for example, just to be mandatory, okay? Finally, the last one would be my combo. I can call it approve, yes or no, and I would say I will validate with valid values, and the first value will be yes, and the other value would be no, for example. So this kind of validation is called closed validation, meaning that a user will not be able to actually modify that list. See, this is, once it is created, you can always modify yourself. If you go back and do some updates, you will be able to add new values, but the people who's using that field will not be able to put their own data. It will have to be the data, preset for them on this one. So I have my revision details, all my 5 fields as I wanted. What's next? So my BOM revision here is I have all my other fields ready to make an object, so we'll be able to actually make an object. So I go back in tools, customization tools, and I will prepare my object with the object registration wizard. Click on next. Okay, so we just follow the wizard. I want to add a new object. Yes, next. I will give a unique ID, very simple, BOM rev. Give it a name, that will be the name of the form. BOM revisions, it's of type master data. So when I look at the list of available, I will see the BOM revision I just created earlier. It's there. Go to the next window. What's going on here? Okay. So there is a possibility, like an SAP Business One, to add a find function. So you can decide that some field on your form will be searchable, like the code, the item code. So it's a good thing to add this. You can create a change log to will see who did the change on that form itself. Some other option, do I want to allow to delete the data when it is entered? Yes or no, I can decide that here. Okay, and then I will tell that I want my BOM or my object to be in the menu. So I will tell that I want that to be called revision on the menu. And I will tell that I'm going to put that along with the production, because this is some production stuff. So I will put that in the production menu at the last position, for example. Okay, these are the fields that will be searchable. So I will just search by either code or name. That's the default value, and I will leave like this. Sometimes when I click, it doesn't. Okay. Then I want to.
Clicker's in weekend mode.
Yes. Okay. Here, these are the field that will be displayed. So by default, it was showing just the code, but I want to see the name, the item name, or the item description as well. So I will just highlight that. I don't know why the click is so bad. Come on, give it to me. Okay, no. Looks like I have to be on the exact same this spot, you know. So I will include the child table. This table. So here you could have, if you have defined more than one child table, you could add them all one by one, and you want to tell which field will be visible in that child table. In my case, I just want to show the revision number, the description, the date, the revision by, and if it was approved or not. All right. And we are done. All right. So let's close that. So technically in my production, I will have a new item bottom here, which is my new form that is already there, and I will be able to populate with some data. Now, I would like to add something here immediately before I go forward, is some UDV, or the formatted search. So here I don't want to type the item code, the lazy guy, I just want that to come from a list. So I would just go in my customization tool, user value setup, and we'll say, okay, in that field, and I have prepared a query already for that, just go get the item code. And I will just say update. So I get a magnifier here, and if I click on this, it will just bring me the code, and and I will be able to actually pick what I want there. This one will be more or less the same as this one, but I don't want to have to actually use the magnifier. I would just want that to populate automatically. So I will use the same tool, user defined value, search for query, use the item name, and I will tell the system, put the data in every time I have selected an item code. So if I update this, and if I go switch for another item code, it just populates automatically. I don't have to worry about that, right? So we are set with this. I would like to add the 2 user-defined field at the end that will be linked to my new BOM. So go back to the user-defined field management. I want to add a user-defined field on my bill of material. This is the BOM, but the title type, there's already a few fields that are there. So we'll add a new one, call it revisions. And this one will be a special one, it will be linked to a user UDO, the UDO I just created, the BOM rev. All right. And the last one, it will be the approved field. I would say approbator. And this one I will link to an entity, which was a table that I just created. So that table, we will use that. And I add this. Okay. So we are fully set. So if I go now in a bill of material, I will see my 2 fields. My new 2 fields are there here. I have my revisions and I have my approbator. The approbator the field is currently empty, so I could create new. This is why I say it's a dynamic, because here I can say, okay, I would create a first. I like to be this, and let's put example. Okay, so I have Tracy here. I could switch to Robert. So my list here is limited, but if I want to add new data, I am able to do it. Compared to the other one where we'll see later, it's a closed list. I cannot add new stuff. So my revision now is here. So I was accessing it from the main menu, but now we'll be able to access it from this field. If I open this, there's no data in there. I can say, okay, I want to create a new BUM revision record. So I want that to be for my I7154. It will just fill in with the name automatically. You see there, the BUM revision number, the first one was 0 because that was the default value I've set. Okay, so initial release date. This would be the exact same behavior as a regular SAP Business One date. If I just put the day, it's going to be the first day of the current month. And if I put any number, it's going to be the current date of the day. And if I just open the calendar, I can just select from the calendar. So it's very, very like similar. You won't see the difference between a standard field of SAP Business One. My revision by, I will just leave it empty because I just want to show that the mandatory fields should be working. And the other field, it says approve, yes or no. So you see here, I don't have the ability like the other one here to add some more data. So I say, yes, it is approved. I'm trying to add this, and I get an error saying that my revision by cannot be nullable. So I will have to put some data in there. And now I have my revision. So I can move from, I will be able to move from one revision like this to the other. But if I want that to be linked to my document, I will just put that in there, and I will be able from now on, just by clicking on the drill down arrow, to actually open this and find my entire history of the BUMs. And I can add a new one, just clicking on the add line. I will say, okay, now I want the revision 1. Okay, added more items. Very simple. A new date. It's gonna be like this guy, and yes, and say no, it's not approved for that for now. Okay. So that's it. So so you see that it's very easy. It's very simple, and you don't have to worry. You can try on your own. You will find that it's very useful. So if I go back to the presentation, I have just a few words to tell at the end.
Yeah, Robert, there's one thing though. I had asked, Jocelyn had a question here that I had kind of missed earlier. Just a second here. Okay, can I ask a question regarding the current screen? And then said, I hadn't seen what
Which screen was that?
Yeah, that's basically the question. Jocelyn, just a second here. I'm just gonna unmute you. Can you speak, Jocelyn? Okay, because I unmuted. All right, and I'll read the question. Hang on here. So basically, the question is, why my button of keys, and she has in parentheses add, remove, is all gray, and I can't make any change to a new UDF. So there's something that's probably not configured in there, right?
Well, UDF, this is one of my topics.
The gray zones.
It's not everyone that can add or remove an UDF or modify a UDF. You have to have a professional license first to be able to play with user-defined field or tables. And the second one, you would need authorizations from the authorization menu to do so.
Okay, so the administrator would have to unblock the access if she has a pro license.
Yes, yes. So unless I am misunderstood the question, but
No, that's it. Because she can't work on them because she has gray fields. So that's it. It's probably because of authorizations. Oh, hang on a second here. I've got another one. Um, Layla's asking, our organization has multiple SAP companies. Is there an efficient way to replicate the creation modification of UDFs in the other companies? For your information,
uh,
we are currently using 9.2 patch level 3.
okay. So if you are creating new fields in one database, I create a new user-defined field, a new objects, a new table. It is possible. There is a tool provided with ACP Business One that will allow to copy those fields from one company to the other. That's one thing, but it will not copy the data inside that field. So if you want to copy automatically the data from one field in one company and send it automatically the same data into another company defined, you will need a tool like B1 integration framework to do that, which was not part of the demonstration today. Okay. But you have a tool. This is if it's just about copying some data, queries, user-defined field, user-defined objects, you can copy that from one company to the other with the tool. It's called Copy Express.
Yeah, and you know what I'll do, Layla? If you need, I don't know if you have the SAP Business One, the user guide for your version 9.2, but if you want it, send me an email and I'll send it to you. You'll probably have that information in there. And there's the support desk too. If there's something, just send an email to support@forgesic.com and somebody will help unblock you on what the problem is, all right? Are there any other questions for now? Okay, that's good. All right. Okay, Robert. Sorry.
All right. So if you're worrying about doing this kind of transaction in your database, is it safe? Is it very safe? The system will not let you doing something stupid. It will block you before it arrives, so you don't have to worry. It's just a matter of being, organized, and when you do something, just using the same denomination or the same way you do your denomination to be sure that everything gets structured the same way. It is very safe, as you see. Once it is done, it will look and feel just a regular ACP Business One field, and it will go like that forever. So if you upgrade your database to a newer version of ACP Business One, this field you created 5 years, 10 years ago will still work. No, don't worry about that. This is forever. Okay, and it is very stable. So I have never experience a problem with those kind of fields. The data integrity in those fields is as strong as a regular ACP Business One field. And this is one of the major strengths of this tool, because it allows users or customers to actually modify and adapt their database to their own needs. And this is something you will not find in other ERP. Okay, so it's very safe. So when they can be created, okay, so for me, for this example, and you see I was clicking a window telling me, oh, there is some connected users. If you're doing that and during the work hours, you will see like 10, 20 guys that are connected to the database. It's not a good idea, to force them to shut down their windows. They might have been during a process or creating a large invoice with so many lines. If you create a user-defined field while they're doing that, they will be forced to close their window and they might just lose their work, and they will have to re-enter and punch new data again because it won't be recorded. So my recommendation would be, one, do it outside of, if you can, outside of your regular business hours, on evening or weekends, and just, if you're not sure, try in your test database first. You can do that, and then you would just replicate that in your prod. And like I was saying, you need a professional license to do so. That's one requirement, so it's not everyone who can do it. And the other one is, even if you have a professional license, you will have to be authorized from your database administrator to be able to create a new field like that. So usually we leave this kind of activity to one or two persons in the company, usually one, and then that's the database owner or the database administrator. If you're not comfortable, we will be happy anytime for us as a consultant to help you create new ones and create those. We do this every day, so it's very easy for us. All right, so that's it. This is the kind of my presentation today.
Thank you very much, Robert.
And
That was very interesting.
Hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, and you got the support desk, friends. If you need any help, support at Forgestic. If you want a copy of this to maybe share with colleagues, send me an email at Tracy at Forgestic. And have a nice weekend, everybody. Thanks, Robert.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye. Bye, all.